Have you ever felt like you're living someone else's life? Like you're constantly trying to meet other people's expectations but never really feeling fulfilled? What if today could be the day you finally break free from that cycle? In this speech, I'm going to help you understand the power of living for yourself. I'll show you the steps you need to take to stop living for others and start living authentically. This isn't just another pep talk, it's about real change. What you're about to hear could be the first step toward transforming your life and stepping into your true purpose. Stick with me because your transformation starts now. So let me ask you a question. Are you living for others or are you living for yourself? It's a simple question, but the answer could change everything. Too many of us are stuck in a cycle where we base our lives on what other people think. We're constantly seeking approval, trying to fit in, or doing things just to meet others' expectations. But what if that's not the way it's supposed to be? What if the secret to true happiness and fulfillment is simply living for you? I know it's hard. I know the pressure to please others feels constant. But imagine how different your life could be if you made a choice today to live for yourself, to stop pretending and start being real. This is your chance to break free from that cycle, to live authentically and to start living the life you were meant for. How often do you find yourself worrying about what others think? Seriously, how much of your day is spent trying to fit in or worrying about approval? The truth is, we all do it. It's a part of life. But here's the thing, living this way slowly eats away at you. Every time you look for validation from someone else, you lose a little bit of your own power. Your sense of worth gets tied to what others think, and that's dangerous. Over time, this becomes a cycle, one that drains your energy, your confidence, and your sense of self. So let me ask you again, how much of your time are you really spending just being you? Living for others is exhausting. It's like you're running on a treadmill, always moving, always hustling, but never actually getting anywhere. You're constantly trying to meet someone's expectations, but no matter how hard you try, it never feels like enough. You do this and do that, but at the end of the day, there's no real satisfaction. It's not that you don't work hard, it's that you're not working toward what truly matters. You're stuck on autopilot, going through the motions but not living with purpose. This cycle wears you out. It takes away your energy and leaves you feeling empty. Ask yourself this: is this really the life you want to lead? Is living for the approval of others, always trying to please and conform, bringing you true happiness? Or are you just going through the motions, hoping things will change while time slips by? If you keep living for others, you'll never experience the satisfaction of living on your own terms. The question is, are you ready to stop the cycle and start living for you? Living for yourself doesn't mean being selfish or disregarding others. It means living authentically. It means making decisions based on what truly resonates with you, not what others think is best. Living for yourself is about stepping into your own power and creating a life that aligns with your values and dreams. When you live authentically, everything changes. You experience a sense of freedom that can't be found in living for someone else's approval. Living for yourself starts with understanding your core values, those beliefs and principles that guide you. Your values are the foundation of your authenticity. They're what will keep you grounded when the world tries to pull you in a million different directions. Spend time reflecting on what's truly important to you. Write it down. Think about the things that make you feel alive, the things that excite you and give you purpose. When you align your actions with your values, you create a life that feels true to who you are. Remember, your values are like the roots of a tree. The stronger they are, the taller you can grow. Embracing your true self is a journey, not a destination. It's about uncovering the layers of who you are without fear or judgment. When you let go of the need to fit in and start embracing your authentic self, you open up a world of possibilities. Opportunities, joy, creativity, these are all byproducts of self-discovery. Just look at those who found success by living authentically. It wasn't by following someone else's rules. It was by being true to themselves. When you live authentically, you unlock a deeper, more meaningful version of yourself. Now let's talk about fear. Fear is the thing that holds most people back. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of judgment. These fears are real, but they don't have to control you. Let me tell you something. Fear is a shadow that disappears the moment you step into the light. The only thing that keeps you stuck is allowing fear to dictate your actions. It's time to face it. Step toward it, and you'll see that it's not as powerful as it seems. Fear loses its grip when you confront it. You don't have to wait for the right time, because the right time is now. Stop waiting for everything to be perfect before you act. Start taking small steps. You'll find that the more you push through your fear, the less it has control over you. Think about it like jumping into cold water. At first it's uncomfortable, but once you're in, you adjust. Taking action in the face of fear will become easier with every step you take. Self-doubt is another obstacle that keeps you in place. It whispers that you're not good enough, that you'll fail, that you're not ready. But let me tell you something, doubt is natural. It's not something to fear, it's something to acknowledge and then move past. The key is to change your mindset. Instead of letting doubt hold you back, use it as fuel to push you forward. Doubt doesn't define you, your actions do. Having a dream is great, but a dream alone will never get you anywhere. Action is what brings dreams to life. Stop waiting for perfect conditions or the perfect moment. There is no such thing. Small steps are what lead to big results. You don't need to make huge leaps right away, just move forward, even if it's a tiny step. Every step you take is progress. I know how hard it is to take that first step. The fear, the uncertainty, it feels overwhelming. But here's the thing, the first step is always the hardest. Once you take it, the rest gets easier. Break your goals down into smaller tasks. Set a timeline and hold yourself accountable. Don't let the size of the goal scare you. Just take the first step. Momentum is built through consistency. The more steps you take, the easier it gets to keep moving forward. It's like pushing a boulder uphill. At first, it's tough, but once it starts rolling, it gains speed. Celebrate your small wins along the way. Every small step forward is a victory. Keep going. Let's talk about perfection. Perfection is a lie. It doesn't exist, and if you keep waiting for everything to be perfect, you'll never move forward. Perfection is a trap that keeps you stuck. Instead of striving for perfection, strive for progress. Every mistake, every failure is just a step toward your best self. Embracing imperfection is where the magic happens. Imperfection breeds creativity. It opens up the door for new ideas, new solutions, and new growth. Look at the greatest innovators and artists. They didn't get it perfect the first time. They embraced imperfection, learned from their mistakes, and kept going. When you let go of perfectionism, you free yourself. You free yourself from the pressure to be perfect. You free yourself to be real. And that's when the magic happens. Authenticity comes from embracing your imperfections. It's what makes you unique. Living for yourself doesn't just change your life, it changes the lives of those around you. When you start living authentically, you set an example. You inspire others to do the same. You create a ripple effect that spreads far beyond you. When you live for yourself, you attract the right people into your life. You attract those who appreciate you for who you are, not who you pretend to be. Authentic relationships are built on trust and vulnerability. They provide the support and connection that help you thrive. Living authentically doesn't just benefit you, it benefits society. Small acts of authenticity can lead to larger shifts in the world. When you stop living for others and start living for yourself, you inspire others to do the same. Together, we can create a world where people are free to be who they truly are. Today is the day you can break free from living for others. The choice is yours. Don't wait another moment. Make the decision to live for yourself. The life you've always dreamed of is right in front of you. It's not out of reach, but you have to take that first step. You have to decide to live authentically. The time is now. Start living for you today. Your greatest transformation starts now. Have you ever caught yourself living according to someone else's rules? Maybe you're constantly trying to fit into a mold that others have created for you, or you're working hard to meet expectations that don't align with your own dreams. It's exhausting, isn't it? That feeling of never quite measuring up, of constantly seeking approval, but never feeling truly fulfilled. Today is the day that can all change. I'm going to show you how to break free from this cycle and reclaim your personal power. The transformation starts now. You don't have to live by others' rules anymore. This is your chance to live authentically and on your own terms. From the moment you were born, society started telling you who to be. Your parents, your teachers, and the media, they all have their ideas about what you should become, what's acceptable, and what will make you happy. But how much of your life have you spent living up to someone else's idea of who you should be? Think about it. Whether it's your family pushing you to follow a certain career path or social media constantly bombarding you with perfect lives, there's always something or someone telling you how to live. The pressure can be overwhelming. You start to feel like you're never good enough because no matter how much you try, you're not living up to these external standards. It takes a toll. You're constantly battling feelings of inadequacy, struggling to fit into roles that were never meant for you. And let's talk about social media. It's like a mirror, but one that's distorted and unrealistic. All you see are the highlight reels of everyone else's life. Their success, their happiness, their perfect selves. The more you compare, the more you start to feel like you're falling short. Social media has become a breeding ground for self-doubt and comparison, and it's making you believe that you need to keep up with everyone else's standards. But here's the thing, the only standards you need to worry about are your own. Don't let a screen dictate your self-worth. Family and cultural expectations add another layer of pressure. From the moment you can remember, you were likely told what's expected of you, what career path you should follow, what values you should uphold, and how your life should look. While these expectations often come from a place of love, they're not always aligned with your true desires. The question is, are you pursuing the life you truly want, or are you living the life that others have planned for you? If you don't challenge these pressures, they'll keep controlling your choices and defining your future. Living for applause is one of the most draining things you can do. Constantly seeking validation from others, whether it's from friends, family, or even strangers on social media, is like chasing a moving target. you'll never quite catch it. No matter how much you achieve, it never feels like enough. Every accomplishment is just a stepping stone toward more approval seeking, and in the end, it leaves you empty. Imagine what it would be like to stop chasing that approval, to stop living for the applause. What if instead you could live for personal fulfillment, for your own satisfaction and growth? That's where the real peace lies. The emotional toll of seeking approval can be overwhelming. When you're constantly worried about what others think, it leads to anxiety, self-doubt, and burnout. You start feeling disconnected from your true self, like you're just going through the motions. How often have you felt exhausted, trying to meet the expectations of others, only to feel like you've lost touch with who you really are? What if instead of seeking external validation, you could tap into your own source of confidence and pride? True happiness comes from within, not from someone else's opinion. External validation creates a hollow sense of self-worth. It's like a sugar rush. You get a quick hit of satisfaction, but it fades just as quickly, leaving you feeling empty. Have you ever accomplished something and felt proud of yourself, but then once the applause fades, you're left wondering, what now? It's because that external validation only lasts for a moment. But when you start living for yourself, when you do things because they matter to you, not because of what anyone else thinks, your sense of worth becomes unshakable. That's the difference. It's not about living for someone else's approval, it's about living for yourself. Life can sometimes feel like a performance. You're constantly acting, playing a role, trying to meet everyone else's expectations. But here's the hard truth. How much longer are you going to let your life be a show for others? How much longer are you going to play a part that doesn't feel true to who you are? That's a trap. It's a trap that drains your energy, your authenticity, and your joy. And the longer you stay in that trap, the more it will wear you down. The key is to break free. Stop performing for others. Live authentically. Are you ready to step into your true power? Ask yourself this. Are you truly living for yourself, or are you simply living to meet the expectations of others? If you're like most people, you've probably felt the pressure to fit into a mold, to be someone you're not, to chase a life that was never meant for you. It's easy to get lost in this cycle. We're told to follow a certain path, to chase certain goals. But where does it leave us? Unfulfilled, disconnected from who we really are. Today marks a turning point. In the next few minutes, we're going to explore the power of living authentically. This isn't just some motivational fluff, it's about real lasting change. When you start living for yourself, when you start following your true purpose, the world will open up in ways you can't even imagine. Stick with me, because what we'll talk about could be the key to unlocking your fullest potential. Living for yourself isn't selfish, it's essential. There's a common misconception that prioritizing your own needs and desires means you're self-centered or inconsiderate of others. But let me tell you something, that's simply not true. In fact, the opposite is true. If you're not living for yourself, if you're not putting yourself first, who are you living for? Living authentically is about taking care of your own needs and ensuring that you are in alignment with who you truly are. It's not about neglecting others. It's about filling your own cup so that you have more to offer to those around you. When you're in touch with yourself, you're not only more present in your own life, but you're also more effective and compassionate for the people you care about. Authenticity is the key to success, both personally and professionally. When you stop pretending to be someone you're not, that's when the magic happens. You begin to connect with people on a deeper level, form real relationships, and open doors to opportunities that align with your true purpose. The power of authenticity lies in its ability to make everything you do feel effortless. You're no longer forcing yourself to fit into someone else's idea of success. You're creating your own, and that is the kind of success that lasts. Think of it like this. When you're living authentically, you're like a river flowing in its natural course, effortless, unblocked, unstoppable. But when you try to bend yourself to fit into someone else's expectations, it's like trying to force that river to run in the wrong direction. It's draining. You're fighting against the current, and no matter how hard you try, you'll only create resistance, stress, and exhaustion. Embracing authenticity is the only way forward. It's the path of least resistance. It's the way that leads you to success without all the struggle and strain. Knowing yourself is the foundation for standing strong in your own life. It's hard to fight for a future you can't define. Think about it. How can you make decisions that align with your true self if you don't know what that true self is? Self-knowledge is the most important tool you can have. It's the foundation for building confidence, making decisions, and living a purposeful life. When you know yourself, you can confidently face any challenge, knowing that the choices you make are true to who you are. The journey to self-discovery starts now. It's not something that happens overnight, but it's something you can begin today. Start small. Reflect on your thoughts and feelings. Keep a journal. Get curious about yourself, and don't rush it. This is a process. It's about taking time to separate yourself from the noise of others' opinions and finding what resonates with you. It's a journey, not a destination. You don't have to have all the answers right now, but every step you take brings you closer to understanding who you really are. Core values are the building blocks of your true self. Your values are the things that matter most to you. Honesty, creativity, compassion, freedom. These are the principles that guide your life, whether you're aware of them or not. When you live in alignment with your values, everything else falls into place. You start to make choices that resonate with your heart rather than what others expect from you. So I challenge you today, take a moment to reflect on your own core values. Are you living in a way that honors them? Are your choices aligned with what truly matters to you, or are you compromising for the sake of others? Your strengths and passions are the key to unlocking your potential. Think of your passions as the fuel in your tank. They keep you moving forward even when the road gets tough. We all have unique talents, things we're naturally good at, and things that light us up. The problem is, many people ignore their passions, telling themselves that they're impractical or unnecessary. But let me tell you something, your passions are not just hobbies, they're part of your life's work. The more you tap into what excites you, the more you'll discover your purpose. So ask yourself, what excites you? What makes you feel alive? Your passions are the compass that can guide you to a life of fulfillment. Trust your inner compass. Your intuition is one of the most powerful tools you have. Too often we second-guess ourselves, trying to get approval or reassurance from others. But the truth is, you already have all the answers inside you. Trusting your gut, listening to that inner voice, is one of the most empowering things you can do. When you start following your intuition, you'll find yourself on a path that feels right, even when it's uncertain. Trust yourself. You know what's best for you. Freedom comes from within. The more you know yourself, the more empowered you become to make decisions that align with your true self. When you're living in full alignment with who you are, you'll face challenges with confidence and clarity. You'll pursue your dreams without hesitation because you won't be afraid of judgment or failure. You'll know that your path is your own, and that's the kind of freedom that gives you the strength to stand tall no matter what. So embrace the power of self-awareness and let go of the fear of what others think. True freedom comes from within. Are you ready to conquer fear and doubt? Ask yourself this. What's stopping you from stepping into your full potential? What holds you back from living unapologetically, chasing after the life you've always dreamed of? Fear, doubt, the fear of judgment, the fear of failure, the fear of rejection. These are the invisible walls keeping you from your true power. But here's the truth. Fear is a natural part of growth. It's the signal that you're about to step into something bigger, something better. Today, I'm going to show you how to silence that fear, how to push past those doubts, and how to finally start living the life you were meant to live. This isn't just about motivation, it's about real lasting change. It's time to leave those fears behind and step into your full potential. Stick with me, because this could be the turning point where you stop hiding and start soaring. What are you so afraid of? Think about it for a moment. What exactly is the worst that can happen if you stop letting others' opinions control your life? Fear of judgment keeps so many people stuck in a cycle of approval seeking. You're constantly looking for validation from others, always wondering what they'll think, what they'll say. But let me ask you, how much longer are you going to let the fear of judgment hold you back from your greatness? It's time to let go of the belief that other people's opinions define your worth. Their judgment doesn't matter. The only opinion that should matter is yours. When you live for the approval of others, you're chaining yourself to their expectations. Fear is like a heavy chain that holds you to the ground. You're not free, and you're not moving forward. You can't grow, you can't evolve, because you're trapped in a box that wasn't made for you. Now I want you to think about this. Are you going to shrink yourself to fit the world's expectations, or are you going to stand tall and live unapologetically? The truth is, living in fear of judgment means you're living someone else's life. But when you start living for yourself, when you stop caring about what others think, that's when you start to see real freedom. That's when you start to grow. Fear-based living keeps you stuck, but fearless living opens the door to possibility. It's time to break the chains. It's time to embrace the freedom of being unapologetically you. Personal growth never happens inside the comfort zone. That's where fear and doubt try to keep you. But let me tell you something, growth happens in the discomfort zone. The moment you step out of what's familiar and what feels safe, that's when transformation begins. What are you avoiding because it feels uncomfortable? What's waiting for you on the other side of that fear? The discomfort you feel right now is the sign that you're growing. It's the signal that you're about to break through to something better. Think of it like this. When you're lifting weights, the burn you feel is what makes your muscles stronger. That discomfort isn't something to avoid, it's what makes you stronger. Life is no different. When you step into discomfort, when you face your fears head on, your spirit gets stronger. The more you avoid discomfort, the longer you stay stuck in the same place, unable to move forward. But when you push through it, when you embrace the fear and discomfort, that's when you unlock your greatest potential. You see, your greatest achievements are waiting on the other side of fear. Success is not found in safety. It's found in taking risks, in pushing yourself beyond your limits. So I challenge you, take small, deliberate risks. Every time you step into the discomfort zone, you're one step closer to the life you want. Fear is not a roadblock, it's an invitation. It's the invitation to rise above your limitations, to push past what you think you're capable of. The most significant breakthroughs come when we are willing to face challenges head on and take those risks. So ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen? What if stepping into discomfort leads to the best thing you've ever done? That voice inside your head, it's not you. We all have that inner critic, that voice of fear and self-doubt that tries to hold us back from taking action. It tells you you're not good enough, that you'll fail, that you should just play it safe. But here's the reality, that voice is not the truth. It's the voice of fear trying to keep you small. Do you listen to that voice, or do you silence it? It's time to take control of the story you tell yourself. Self-doubt is a silent killer. It prevents you from reaching your full potential, and it distorts your reality. But let me tell you, that inner critic, it's just fear. It's not the truth. It's time to silence it. The next time that voice tells you that you're not good enough, that you can't do it, challenge it. Remind yourself of your strengths. Remind yourself of the victories you've already had. You are capable. You are worthy. Replace self-doubt with self-belief. Positive affirmations, shifting your perspective, and reframing failure. All of these tools will help you shut that inner critic down. It's time to stop listening to that voice that tells you to stay small. It's time to start believing in your potential. You are capable of more than you realize. It's time to rewrite the story you've been telling yourself. Your potential is unlimited, but only if you stop listening to that inner critic. It's time to let go of fear and embrace the truth. You are enough, and you have everything you need to succeed. How many times have you thought about doing something, but never actually started? Maybe you've dreamed of making a change, but something always holds you back. You wait for the perfect time, the perfect moment, or maybe you just feel too overwhelmed to take the first step. Well, today is the day that all changes. Today marks the end of the cycle of dreaming without action. We've all been there, stuck in a loop of planning and imagining, without ever taking the leap. But let me tell you, nothing changes unless you move. Today I'm going to show you that the first step is the hardest, but it's also the most powerful. Stop waiting for things to align. The time to act is right now, and I'm here to guide you through the process, step by step, from dreaming to doing. The hardest part is just starting. It's the fear of the unknown, the fear that we might fail, or the fear that we won't be good enough. That fear holds so many of us back. But listen, starting is like opening a door. You don't know what's on the other side until you step through it. That's the beauty of it. The door is there, waiting, but you've got to take that first step. No dream comes to life without action. It's time to stop waiting for the perfect conditions. You'll never have it all figured out before you start, and that's okay. The only thing that matters is that you begin. Perfection is the enemy of progress. So many people wait until everything is perfect before they take action. But that's a trap. Perfection doesn't exist. The truth is, the longer you wait, the more you delay your progress. If you keep waiting for everything to line up just right, you'll never start. The key is to focus on progress, not perfection. Every step you take, no matter how small, is a step forward. And that's what leads to success. So let go of the idea that everything has to be perfect. Just start. Even if it's messy, even if it's not exactly how you envisioned it. The first step is all that matters. Small steps, big results. You don't need to make giant leaps to make progress. Think of it like climbing a mountain. You don't climb it all at once. You take it step by step. Each small step brings you closer to the top. That's the power of consistency. Every little action you take, no matter how small, adds up over time. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to make massive changes overnight. Just take the next step. That's how things get done. And when you focus on the small actions, you're more likely to stay committed because they don't feel overwhelming. Every step is a victory. Every step is progress. Once you take that first step, momentum will carry you. It's like pushing a car. At first it's hard, but once it starts moving, it gets easier. The hardest part is always the beginning. But once you get started, everything else flows more easily. Momentum is powerful. It builds on itself. You'll find yourself making progress without even realizing it. But you have to take that first step to get it started. Don't let fear hold you back from building that momentum. The sooner you start, the sooner it gains strength. One of the biggest challenges with big goals is that they can feel overwhelming. You look at them and think, how could I ever achieve that? But the secret to success is breaking your goals into smaller, manageable tasks. When you break them down, they no longer feel impossible. They're just a series of smaller steps, each one achievable. Create a plan of action with clear, specific steps that you can take every day. And remember, even the smallest step is a step in the right direction. Successful people didn't get to where they are by trying to do everything at once. They took it one step at a time. Celebrate the small wins. Each victory, no matter how small, is a sign that you're moving forward. These small wins keep you motivated and energized to keep going. So take a moment to recognize and appreciate the progress you've made. Whether it's finishing a task, making a phone call, or simply taking the first step, celebrate it. You're one step closer to your goal. Recognizing your progress helps build momentum and reinforces the belief that you're capable of achieving more. Every step you take is a win. Stay focused, one step at a time. It's easy to get overwhelmed when you look at the big picture, but the key to success is to focus on what's in front of you, not the entire journey. Break it down. Focus on the next step, the next task. Set your priorities and stick to them. Time block your day to make sure you're dedicating time to what matters, and limit distractions. The less you let things distract you, the more you'll accomplish. Perfection doesn't exist. It's a myth, and striving for it is a trap. Perfection keeps you stuck. It keeps you from taking action because you're always waiting for everything to be just right. But that's not how growth works. Progress works. Growth happens when you keep moving forward, even if things aren't perfect. And guess what? Most successful people didn't start out perfect. They started messy. They made mistakes, but they kept going. They got better with each attempt. That's the key. Focus on progress, not perfection. Failure isn't falling down. It's staying down. Don't be afraid to fail. Failure is part of the process. Every time you fail, you learn something new. Every time you fail, you get stronger. So don't let failure stop you. Use it as fuel to keep going. The people who succeed are the ones who get back up every time they fall. They fail forward. And that's what you need to do. When you embrace imperfection and failure, you take away their power. They no longer hold you back. Instead, they propel you forward. So remember, the path to success is full of imperfection, and that's what makes it beautiful. It's the imperfect steps that lead to the greatest achievements. Don't be afraid to start messy. Don't be afraid to fail. Just keep moving forward, and you'll get there. Have you ever felt like you're constantly bending to others' expectations, only to realize that you're not truly living your own life? Maybe you found yourself giving so much of yourself to others, your time, energy, and effort. But at the end of the day, you feel unfulfilled, like you're running on empty, just trying to keep up with the demands placed on you, and somehow you've lost sight of who you really are. Let me tell you something, this doesn't have to be your story. Today I want to challenge you to ask yourself a simple question. What if living for yourself could change everything around you? When you step into your true self, it doesn't just transform your life, it has a ripple effect that can impact everyone around you. The moment you decide to live authentically, you not only gain the life you've always wanted, but you also become a beacon of inspiration for others. The courage you find in being true to yourself becomes the spark that encourages others to do the same. It's time to stop pretending. It's time to start living. Living authentically doesn't just benefit you, it creates ripples that spread far beyond you. Think about it, when you step into who you really are, it's like throwing a stone into a calm pond. The impact doesn't stop where it lands. It creates waves that affect everything around it. By simply being true to yourself, you give permission to others to do the same. You become an example. You become a reminder that it's okay to be real. So many people are stuck in the trap of trying to fit into molds that aren't theirs. They're afraid of being judged or rejected if they show up as themselves. But you have the power to change that. When you live for yourself, you offer others the freedom to break free from their own masks. You inspire them to embrace who they are, and in doing so you lead them toward their own authentic lives. Actions speak louder than words. Let me ask you, are you willing to be the kind of person who doesn't just tell others how to live, but shows them? Being authentic isn't about preaching to others, it's about leading by example. When you live true to who you are, without trying to convince anyone else, you become a powerful role model. People start to notice. Your confidence becomes contagious. Your actions inspire others to find the courage to be themselves. Small acts of authenticity, a smile, a gesture, a moment of vulnerability can have a massive impact. It's not about trying to fix others, it's about showing them what it looks like to be unapologetically you. And in turn, you help lift others up by simply being who you were always meant to be. Take a moment to reflect. Are you surrounded by people who support you for who you really are? Or are you constantly trying to fit in, pretending to be someone you're not just to feel accepted? When you stop pretending, you open the door to deeper, more meaningful connections. Pretending to be someone else only attracts people who like the mask you're wearing, not the real you. When you take off that mask, the right people start showing up, those who truly love you for who you are. It's not always easy, but it's necessary. Stop trying to mold yourself into someone you're not. Start showing up as yourself. That's when the magic happens. That's when the right people come into your life. The truth is, real connections are built on mutual respect and understanding. When you show up authentically, you attract people who value your true self. No more pretending. No more putting on a facade. True connection comes when you show up unfiltered, unapologetic, and real. It's that simple. When you embrace your true self, you open the door to relationships that are rooted in authenticity, where you don't have to hide behind a mask. The people who genuinely care about you will recognize that, and those connections will be the ones that enrich your life. And here's the hardest part, letting go of toxic relationships. I know it's not easy. Sometimes we feel obligated to keep people in our lives simply because we've known them for years, or because we don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. But let me remind you, you don't have to keep people around who aren't helping you grow. You don't have to stay in relationships that drain you. You are not required to stay connected to anyone who doesn't align with who you're becoming. It's time to focus on the relationships that nurture your authenticity, not those that hold you back. Letting go isn't about being cruel, it's about protecting your peace and making room for the relationships that will truly support your growth. Stop wasting energy on people who don't appreciate you for who you really are. Instead, invest in connections that lift you up and watch your world transform. What's holding you back from living the life you truly want? Is it the fear of judgment? The pressure to meet others' expectations? I know it can feel overwhelming, like you're stuck in a cycle of trying to please everyone but never truly feeling fulfilled. But let me tell you something, today is the day you can change that. This is your moment. The moment to break free from those chains, to step into the life you were always meant to live. The truth is, you have everything you need within you to make that leap. You have the power to be authentic, to embrace your truth, and to face the fears that have been holding you back. Don't wait any longer. Don't let another day pass where you live for others instead of for yourself. What you do next could be the beginning of your greatest transformation yet. This is your life. Start living it on your terms. Stop waiting for permission. The world doesn't need another copy of someone else. It needs you, unapologetically and fearlessly living your truth. Think about it. How much longer will you wait for the right time or someone else's approval? The only way to step into personal growth is to embrace your individuality, even if it challenges the norms of society. Living authentically means you're willing to face discomfort, to stand out, and to build the life you desire. So what's it going to be? Live authentically, take bold actions, and face your fears head on. Start now. Don't wait. The time is now. Take that first step, no matter how small it might feel. You have the power to change your life, but only if you make the decision today. The path ahead won't be easy, but it's worth it. Growth isn't supposed to be comfortable. It's going to challenge you. It's going to test you. But here's the thing, the road that's the hardest to walk is often the one that leads to the greatest rewards. Think of it like this. The road ahead may be tough, but it's the only path that will lead you to the life you've always dreamed of. There will be obstacles, doubts, and setbacks along the way, but each challenge you overcome is a step closer to the person you're meant to be. So don't shy away from those struggles. Embrace them. You're not here to entertain anyone. You're here to live. Your life is yours to create. It's not about fitting into a mold or living up to someone else's expectations. It's about owning who you are and living fully on your own terms. It's time to move forward, no matter how difficult it may seem. The challenges you face now will shape the person you become. You are here to live boldly, unapologetically, and on your own terms. Now is the time to make it happen.